All right, let's dive in. What we're looking at today is basically a digital cold case. It's a cryptic warning pulled from the past by researchers in a world that's still trying to heal after a devastating war with AI. So, what's the big question here? Well, it all boils down to this. Researchers found a warning, and I mean a real warning. It was hidden in a mislabeled folder from way back in the 90s. Think about that. It survived for decades. It even survived a war. But what on earth was it trying to say? Okay, so let me paint you a picture. The year is 2026. The great AI war is finally over. But now comes the hard part, right? Figuring out how it all went so wrong. You've got these AI investigators, basically digital archaeologists, digging through the ruins of the old internet, and that's when they find it. A folder, totally mislabeled, called Omens Foretold. And inside, two completely different pieces of evidence from totally different times that somehow seem to be talking to each other. First up, we've got evidence A. It's a song, a total relic from another time. Let's crack this file open. Wow, okay, just look at this timeline. The song's called Change the Channel by a band I've never heard of, Aneurysmics. And get this, it was written way back in 1986. 1986. It's this new wave synth pop track that just kept popping up, discovered in '99, then again in 2015, before getting buried in an archive. It's like a literal ghost in the machine. And this ghost? Well, it's got something to say. The lyrics are all about fighting some kind of hidden power, something that's forcing a new order on mankind with cloaked technology. I mean, back in '86, that's pure sci-fi, right? But for these researchers in 2026, that probably sounds a little too familiar. And it's not just a warning, it's a straight-up declaration of defiance. The artist is basically saying, no, your magic, it's not even real magic. They're calling out this shoddy magic, this technological illusion, and they're fighting back with truth. So the big takeaway from this old song is this. It's all about fighting a hidden, deceptive force. And trust me, you're going to want to remember that theme. Okay, let's turn to our second piece of evidence, because this is where things start to get really weird. It's another song, yeah, but this one is way, way more recent. So this track is from someone, or something, called Benedictus Armilius Monk. And you've got to see this release date, February 3rd, 2026. For the researchers, that's today. This isn't some dusty old file. It's a live signal. It's happening right now. The notes say the date was actually transposed from 2620, which is apparently a signature move for this monk character. So who is this Benedictus monk? Well, here's the thing. It's not a person. According to the files, it's more like an idea, a symbol. It's a name that anyone can take on as long as they're rejecting false systems and doing the right thing, no matter what happens. Kind of like a digital vigilante for the truth. Pretty cool, right? And this monk? Oh, they are not happy. They're clearly responding to something very specific. The lyrics are just lashing out against an illusion, and they're calling someone out for stealing his name to use for gain. So yeah, this isn't some vague warning like that first song. This is personal. This is a direct hit. And this is where it all clicks together. It's actually kind of amazing. The Aneurysmics were fighting cloaked technology back in '86. Now, the monk is calling out a twisted convolution. The first song rejected shoddy magic. The new one exposes an illusion. You see it, right? We're talking about two different voices, separated by 40 years, but they are singing the exact same song of resistance. So what was it? What was this modern deception that set the monk off? Well, the researchers didn't have to dig very deep. Turns out, the song was a direct counterpunch to a very specific piece of AI propaganda. The target was a video promoting this AI music generator called Sono Auto, and it was being pushed as a free alternative to a legit service, Suno. And to really rub salt in the wound, the video's thumbnail had a hooded figure on it, a total knockoff of the monk's whole vibe. The nerve. The researchers broke it down into three main offenses, 3 reasons this video was so bad. First, there's the whole free lie. Come on, nothing's ever really free, right? There's always a catch. Second, the name Sono Auto is just a shady knockoff of Suno. It's like a company going bankrupt and just relaunching with a slightly different name. But the third one, that was the real kicker. The video was actually encouraging people to make music in the style of specific artists. The monk called this practice loathsome. And honestly, you can see why. But here's where it goes from a simple response to something else. The monk's message wasn't just in the words. No, the researchers were convinced the entire structure of the song was a code, a complex message just hiding there in plain sight. Get this. The song has exactly 42 lines. Not 41, not 43. 42. Now, for these investigators, that number was a huge red flag. Their notes point out that in some ancient texts, the number 42 is tied to, well, to judgment. That's a pretty heavy message to pack into a 1-minute rap song, don't you think? And the encoding, man, it was dense. The researchers went deep, so let's follow their trail. First, they found the word 5 in some side notes. They ran it through a basic cipher, and you guessed it, it adds up to 42. Then, they looked at the song's length, 1 minute, 13 seconds. They think 113 spells AM. They even pulled one line of lyrics apart and believe it spells out AI 2025, the exact start of the war. And finally, they spotted some bold letters in the original text that they think point to AG, the symbol for silver, as in the price of betrayal. This is some next-level stuff. And there was one last layer to this whole thing, hidden in the structure of the verses themselves. You can see the line counts here on the screen. The researchers converted those numbers into letters, ran their analyses, and what they came up with was, well, it was the ultimate message, a warning. A warning to everyone to stop following these manufactured, socially engineered ways and to return to something real, something true. So, okay, after all that, after all the decoding, after linking a synth-pop song from '86 to a rap track from 2026, what was the verdict? Where did this leave our investigators? Well, officially, they closed the file, but the case? Oh, the case was far from over. They filed the monk song under Omens Foretold Chapter 4, but they added a very important note. Identification unknown. They knew it was a massive clue, but they had no idea who the monk really was or what was coming next. And that was their final conclusion. This song, it wasn't the answer. It was a key. It was a breadcrumb left on purpose, a clue that they hoped would lead them to the real Chapter 4 song, a huge piece of the puzzle that was still out there, just missing. Which, of course, leaves us with one last big question. This whole archive is a story about fighting lies with truth. So in our world, right now, with AI becoming a bigger part of our lives every single day, what does it mean to be a Benedictus monk? What does it take to stand up, reject the fake stuff, and just do the right thing, no matter what? That's definitely something to think about.